27, Haley Morrow. In the number 1, Jill Lassiter. Team C, Colorado. West Indian Lighthouse comes about. Cheers the home team for this game. Team Japan. California, first is immediate sign, batting first, designated player number 5, Ishikawa Kyoko. Above this guy, Vancouver, number 6, batting second, shortstop number 6, Takahiko Yui. Wazio, home museum video says, batting third, playing second base, number 16, Udo Katna. Utettiemo, number 26, batting fourth, left fielder number 19, Tsukamoto Hotaru. Above second, home Wazio video fans, batting fifth, playing third base, number 15, Kawabata Tony. Season control video, he said, batting sixth, playing first base, number 17, Naito Minori. Above septième, Jordan Song, numéro 26, batting seventh, center fielder, number 26, Nakagawa Ayane. Above huitième, numéro 24, batting eighth, catcher number 24, Nagatsuma Haruka. Numéro 7, batting ninth, right fielder, number 7, Harada Nuoka. En position d'expansion numéro 13, in the flex position, pitcher number 13, Goto Miu. Les substituts Eldridge, numéro 21, number 21, Ueno Yukiko. Numéro 22, number 22, Katsumata Izaki. Numéro 23, number 23, Miwa Sakura. Numéro 14, number 14, Kiichi Yume. Numéro 25, number 25, Sumikami Haruka. Numéro 18, number 18, Kawamura Lisa. Team Japan. Les arbitres pour ce match, officials for this game. Round at home plate, Adam McNulty. Will play you at first base, Mark McCollum. Will use you at second base, James English. Will swat you at third base, Nick Harvey. Scorekeeper, birthday girl, Janet Reeves. Mesdames et messieurs, également, s'il vous plaît, vous levez le petit chapeau de casquette pour l'interprétation des célébrations des États-Unis d'Amérique et du Japon. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you are able to remove your hats and caps for the national anthems of the United States of America and Japan.
Let's get it started. They met earlier in the tournament in a battle of unbeatens. Tonight, Team Japan takes on Triple Crown Colorado for the right to play in tomorrow's championship final. My name is Peter Labardius, alongside former Italian national team shortstop Amanda Fama. Japan with another impressive win earlier today in their first playoff game, 8-1, while Triple Crown Colorado, and maybe the game of the tournament, beat Canada in the game that followed, 2-1 in 8 innings, scoring 2 in the bottom of the 8th to win the game. Now, it's the hardest question there is. You have played against Team Japan in the past in your career. If someone is to say, what will it take to knock off one of softball's powerhouses, what comes to mind?
You have to be perfect, really. In reality, you have to be perfect in every part of this game, whether it's in the circle, you cannot miss a pitch. Base running has to be perfect. In the box, you have to be able to get on base and produce runs offensively, and your defense has to be perfect. Any opportunity that you give Japan to score, it's going to happen, and this game can get out of hand real quick if you allow that to happen.
Well, I think they've only, talking about the Japanese, who have outscored their opponents 68-4 in those 8 games that they've played, including the playoff game, were under duress once. That was last night, final game of the round robin for them against Canada. But isn't it a case, you're not likely, the 4 to me tells you how much pressure that puts. You're not likely to get very many chances. So when you do, you probably need to cash in, don't you?
Absolutely. Any opportunity, you have to be able to capitalize on it, because it does not happen. This is Japan, one of the best teams in the world, and if you do get that opportunity, that could be the only opportunity. You have to make it happen.
Well, a berth in the final as we are ready to go here tonight. And 22-year-old sensation Miyu Gato will work for Team Japan against Triple Crown Colorado, who were involved in one of those games earlier today against Canada where every pitch, every situation mattered. And Hannah Gamble in the bottom of the 8th after Erica Polidori, it was the only hit Canada had in the entire game off a excellent pitching performance by 3 different Triple Crown pitchers. Scored the go-ahead run with the runner that starts in the extra inning at second. Canada able to get a pop-up, got to 2 out before Gamble blooped one into the left, and Triple Crown Colorado and Japan play for the second time. This one's more important, as there is a berth in tomorrow's championship final, as Miyu Gato working against one of the all-stars in this tournament, Richwood, Texas, third base player Danica Coffey. And a 1-2 count from Gato, and she makes a highly athletic play.
Again, we talk about Japan and their defense, and that doesn't exclude their pitching staff. This ball's hit right back at her, and again, she has that kind of bounce after her plant and her pitch, and she's able to field that really well and get the leadoff runner out.
Well, recently in international competition, her numbers are staggering. There's no other adjective, I think, that you can use as she faces another all-star in the tournament, Erin Koffel. Koffel has just ripped the cover off the ball here. She is a star at the University of Kentucky. She's from Bremen, Indiana. And Koffel in this tournament is 9 for 23 and goes down swinging. And there, this is a absolute, without doubt, world-class pitcher in Miyu Gato. Helped close out the gold medal game against the United States 2 summers ago when she was 20 in relief of the all-time great Yukiko Ueno. No one remembers the last time she gave up an earned run in international competition, and I don't even say that sarcastically. She gave up 1 run in the Japan-USA series last August. It was on a pass ball. And her energy is infectious to watch. 22 years of age. Miyugatu.
It really is, and she's painting the corners, the inside, outside really well with her screwball and curveball. And we see a changeup here. Gets a little high for that, but her energy, I think, really is something that helps her excel. That doesn't happen for every pitcher. Some like to stay calm and collective, and the energy here, I think, just helps her do better.
And delivers an outside strike on Sarah Gordon. And Gordon, an impressive player coming off a sensational first season in college at the University of Louisville. And she draws a 2-out walk from Miyugatu. Gatto, so far in the Canada Cup, has only pitched 7 innings, and the majority of them came against this group a couple of days ago. Of course, she has not given up a run. Just 2 hits, struck out 8. She did get herself in some early trouble against Triple Crown Colorado with some walks early in that game, but then was almost unhittable the rest of the way. Hannah Gamble, who is the hero of this afternoon's winners bracket semifinal against Canada, with her first 2 runs batted in. The throw from Haruka Agatsuma. And the tag apparently put on the shoulder of Sarah Gordon. Is Dave King trying to make something happen early on against 8-0 Japan at the Canada Cup in a game to decide who will play in tomorrow's title game. Carlin Pickens gets the call in this large encounter. The winner advancing directly to tomorrow's championship final. The winner still an opportunity to win a game, the afternoon game, as they'll work their way back. So both teams will be alive regardless of who wins. Pickens is from Weaverville, North Carolina. She was the 2023 SEC First-Year Player of the Year at the University of Tennessee and has pitched 9 innings so far in this event. And she faces Kyoko Ishikawa, who leads things off for Team Japan in the bottom of the first, a team that has scored 68 times in the 8 games that they have played. So they've averaged more than 8. And no one has caused them to play more than 6 innings. Ishikawa is 6 for 17, batting .353, and the changeup up and away. Japan in their playoff game against Italy to advance them into this contest scored 5 in the bottom of the first. As Ishikawa stays alive, fights off the Pickens pitch. Pitched just 1 2/3 innings at the College Women's World Series. It came on June 3rd against Oklahoma. And it was not a great Saturday afternoon in Oklahoma City for the University of Tennessee. There's a lot of teams that don't have great Saturday afternoons against the University of Oklahoma, the 3-time reigning NCAA Division I champions. On the ground, Danica Coffey rifles it to get Ishikawa just in time. As she recovered, little bobble, stayed with it, and made a strong throw across the diamond. And the shortstop tonight for Japan, they are not afraid to move things around in their infield depending on their opponent. Seen Ishikawa over there, seen Kanakudo at shortstop, and tonight Wee Nakamizo will start there, number 6. Changeup, fouls it down the right field side. Nakamizo has not had a lot of national team experience. Plays in the Japan Diamond League, their great professional league over there, where major companies are the team names. Toyota, Honda, Bic Camera, SGH Galaxy. It'd be fun to go over there for about a month and just watch that league.
Just playing over there, the few opportunities that I had, it is a softball atmosphere, and we can tell with Japan dominating and how they play this game that it's a little something different.
10th hit of the tournament for Wee Nakamizo. Batting .500 is Nakamizo, so a one-out single to right for Japan as they look to jump on top in this winner's bracket final for the right to play in the championship game here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
And we saw in that after that pitch, we have the second baseman covering second for a steal, giving the left side an opportunity to kind of stay back if they're able to kind of punch the ball to the left side, maybe doing a little scouting. And it's smart because we see with Japan a lot of the times they place the ball, and watching them on deck and their practice swings, especially Kana, it looked like she was practicing more contact versus power.
Kudo Kana fouls that away. 2 strikes to tonight's second base player, 24 years of age. She is 10 for 23. 2 homers, 3 doubles, and leads this Japan team in runs batted in with 10. And that's a large early strikeout for Triple Crown Colorado's Carlin Pickens.
Again, with that changeup, it's incredibly difficult to be able to read a ball that comes out in that same spot, in that same slot. And she fools the Japan hitter there, and that's a great job.
Oturo Tsukamoto has just been hitting better and better as this tournament has gone on. And when she delivers hits, they usually turn into runs batted in. She has 6 hits and 9 runs batted in. We have an absolute wild game going on in the second elimination game. We just watched Mexico eliminate Australia to keep their hopes alive. On diamond 2 beside us, on the ground, Jackie Lease handles the hop. And a good beginning for Carlin Pickens and Triple Crown Colorado. Beside us, it's 9-9, Greece and Israel in the bottom of the 10th. And we'll keep you abreast of how that game ends up. Right here with a trip to the title game on the line, no score, Japan and Triple Crown Colorado. Great crowd forming again, and look for it to continue to grow on this playoff Saturday. Canada coming up next in the final game of the day, and they'll be in an elimination game after falling in a dynamite contest earlier today where they lost 2-1 in 8 innings to this Triple Crown Colorado team. Hannah Gamble won it with just the 5th hit of the game for Triple Crown Colorado with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th. Enough of the bat on it to almost register another hit for the star at the University of Arkansas, who hails from, and I hope I pronounced it right, Beebe, Arkansas. In the tournament, Hannah is 8 for 16. Miyugato asking for the sign. How difficult can a pitcher with that much motion, like, could you not get caught up in just watching all of that at the plate?
Absolutely. It brings more of this presence, not necessarily something that we're looking at up to bat.
Hannah Gamble was hit in the wrist with that change of pace. And Triple Crown Colorado has the leadoff batter on.
Again, talking about being perfect, they get a great opportunity here, and let's see if they can do something with it. Gatto has that energy and that bounce, and she's very animated. Sometimes it's too much for hitters, and they feel the stress, the pressure, anticipation, and that's why you have to lock in and see the ball out of her hand.
Now, this week is my first chance to watch Miyugato in person, and I will say this. She is not as overpowering as she has looked to me on television, as she did in the World Games at times last summer and at the Summer Olympics in 2021.
And I'll say this just because I've personally faced her a few times. I've seen her do a little better in that department of overpowering hitters, but she's got the movement or the location, and she can really spot that ball. And that's what I've seen throughout this tournament.
Well, the one thing I really remember And I guess it would come as no surprise. On the ground, could it be 2? Kudo to Nakamizo. And watch the footwork over at second.
It's incredible. You see that their footwork happens before the ball even gets to them, and that just makes them faster when they're already set up to go to second base, and then they receive the ball.
I could watch them take infield and outfield for hours, and I have many, many years ago. This is the first time. Well, I did watch this team in Tampa, Florida, a couple of years ago, play on a tour of some Florida college teams. They didn't have their entire national team there. Nakamizo on the run. Throws a strike. They can pitch. They can defend. They do it all well. And we are off to a good start in this important game on Saturday night in Surrey at the Canada Cup. Carlin Pickens set to work her second inning against Japan. Did give up one hit to Wee Nakamizo. And you were just remarking to me about the play the shortstop made to end the inning. And I saw your body language after she made it, and it said, I have done that my whole life, and she makes that look so easy. And I could tell by your body language, Amanda, the former shortstop for the Italian national team up until this year, it is far from that.
Exactly, and I just laugh because they make it look so smooth. And even Kana over at second base, opening up her hips, it is extremely difficult. And to be able to do that so quickly, so smoothly, again, they make these plays look easy.
Kawabata's big week continues. Doubles into the gap in right center. And Hitomi Kawabata playing over at third has a leadoff double, and Japan in business in the bottom of the second. Kawabata leads Japan in average. She's now 11 for 19. Minori Naito playing over at first base again. And she squared to bunt and took a strike. Japan 2 hits. Off of Pickens. And able to compose herself. Picked it up with a glove, not the bare hand, but did transfer and shovel. But Naito is able to move the runner 60 feet away from the game's first run.
And if you think about the reaction time that a pitcher has to have, that they have to be fearless, really. It's only a millisecond that they can react. And for a pitcher to kind of get hit wherever it may be and recover a ball and make it out is incredible on its own, and props to them for anything that they can do. in that scenario.
Well, they start at 43 feet. By the time that ball's released, especially with a long, lanky pitcher like Pickens and most, she's closer to 35 by the time she's in a position to field the ball. And it is coming back at you with no time. You're so right.
And that's why we see a lot of athletes, pitchers wear that face mask. A lot of defensive players are starting to wear it. Okay, but a pitcher now with the technology that bats have, and you're facing Japan and the bat speed, it's incredible, and it's a good thing that face masks are getting more popular with pitching.
And you want the young players too, because it is so hard to do anything if fear creeps into the equation.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really do anything 100% if you have any bit of fear. And when you're playing a team you have to be perfect with, you're already a little nervous, and the aspect of fear can create errors, and it's just not going to work. So, yeah, it's a great piece of equipment that's getting more popular, and I'm sure saving lives, to be honest.
Ayani Nakagawa has spent a lot of time in the leadoff spot this week, but finds herself down in the lineup. The center fielder. Change up. Got around on it, but drives it foul. She is 10 for 21 in this tournament, has homered, driven in 3. Kawabata, after a leadoff double, is at third with 1 out. The infield for Triple Crown Colorado is in, and Nakagawa cashes in the game's first run with her 4th run batted in, and Japan strikes first.
And we see one of those, not necessarily a blooper, but not a strong ball over the outfielder, kind of like we saw Japan with Team Italy earlier. Japan is placing the ball exactly where they need to. They're playing the game very small, and it's working for them.
29-year-old Haruka Agutsama, the catcher. She's a longtime veteran. In fact, she played here in Japan's last appearance at the Canada Cup, where she went 9 for 19 in the year 2017. And she played here in the 2016 Women's World Championship. The ball gets away from catcher Reese Atwood from Sandia, Texas, and the University of Texas. And the other thing about Japan when you watch them, they never miss an opportunity to take a base, to cut something off, to throw to the right cutoff player. And that could have been an out at third. As I was giving them great credit, Danica Coffey, I'm not sure if she didn't realize there was less than 2 out, but there was a definite chance for her to make the tag over there on Nakagawa.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you have to be in the game every second, every pitch, and you can't just go through the motions. That was a great opportunity to make a great play, and hopefully, you know, they're able to get out of this out and that not hinder them and score an extra run, because like we talked about, you can't miss opportunities when you're facing Olympic gold medalist Japan.
You need to find a way to engineer extra opportunities. You most certainly cannot give them any extra opportunities if you're going to beat them.
Yeah, Peter, I'd say like Japan is in the driver's seat, and you have to be able to defend them and then figure it out and produce runs. And it's a very difficult team. USA did it last year, so they are beatable. But again, it's a very difficult thing to do, and you can't give them any extra opportunities.
Japan lost in the gold medal game of the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama last July. A great game. Ali Carta threw an absolute gem. She is helping the United States, who, by the way, beat Great Britain 7-0. Korek did not pitch in that game. And Nodoka Harada thought she might have gone around. Activity up for Triple Crown Colorado. And that's been how they've gone about their business with this 7-player staff. Harada carries a long way over the head of Lassiter. An RBI double by veteran Nodoka Harada. And it's 2-0 Japan.
And I think this is the thing that we all want to be able to figure out is how Japan has kind of those check swings and is able to hit that ball so far. That's what they do so well, along with poking it where they need to. But again, that's Japan at its finest.
Listen, I don't want to start any kind of controversy. Not that I'm afraid. Balls seem to react off their bats a little different than other countries. That ball was barely touched, and it almost jumped out of here. Now, to use a golf analogy, and I'm terrible at golf, and we've had some fun talking about golf a little bit this week on our way to and from the park, which has been podcast central daily if it was taped. But I don't know if it's like in golf, they always seem to find the sweet spot on the bat. That ball to me had almost no business carrying. Now Pickens is in that 70-mile-an-hour neighborhood, so it's going to carry. But that was literally almost a half get your bat out, and that is not the first time this week. As Pickens having a conversation with catcher Reese Atwood facing Kyoko Ishikawa, who's in the designated player and the leadoff spot tonight, as Japan with a couple of doubles and lead 2-0.
Well, Peter, you mentioned the bats, and Japan is Japan. They hit the ball, and we can never figure out how it happens, but they have so much technology that measures ball flight and angle, and is it possible that every time Japan is able to hit the ball at the right angle on the sweet spot of the bat? Possibly.
Through the legs of Aaron Koffel, as Harada, the smart play to delay enough to make this ground ball more difficult for the shortstop.
Yeah, she needs to stay down a little more on that. That's a fairly routine ball. You can tell she's upset about it, but if she just stays down a little longer, she's got that and able to get out of this inning. And again, you can't let those happen when you're facing Japan.
I think the most fascinating thing for me all week is this. They change the mindset of other teams. Because when you start seeing a play like that from a great shortstop in Aaron Koffel, not a good one, I think USA national team type caliber moving forward, I'm not sure that happens against any other team but Japan because of the pressure, and every play needs to be made. And I know enough about sports to understand this. The more pressure you feel and your mindset of not being relaxed, just that little extra edge. Am I speaking like a crazy man?
No, and that's, again, the status that comes with Japan. And we're learning even more how important the mindset and your mentality is going into a game. So you're playing Japan for the second or third time in a tournament, but it's still Japan, and that's what they do to you. And they put the ball in play, and they put pressure on you. So being in a good mindset is huge.
Well, here's a ground ball that Jackie Lease takes care of. A couple of doubles. An error. Japan has 3 runs and lead it in a game that can vault them into tomorrow's championship final, and it's starting exactly how they wanted. Talon Edwards to lead things off for Triple Crown Colorado, who lost their showdown of teams at that point who were a perfect 5-0 in a game on Thursday. Won by Japan 7-0. And they have 4 hits. They took advantage of an error and have given Miyugato a 3-0 lead. Is Edwards, who is from Moore, Oklahoma, which is really just a little suburb outside of Oklahoma City. And just completed her first year, Talon Edwards did, at Oklahoma State. So an Oklahoma City lives closer to Norman than she would OSU. Batted .328 there. Her mom, Pam, played at Oklahoma Baptist. Her sister, Trinity, at Missouri, Texas, and San Jose State. Her brother played baseball at Murray State. So a very athletic family that Talon Edwards is a part of and comes from. Ball 1 from Miyugato. On the ground, Nakamizo with relative ease for out number 1.
And something I've always noticed with the Japanese defense is their gloves. Peter, if you look at their gloves, they're really wide open. In the States or even in Italy, we kind of close it and form a pocket. And theirs are really wide open and kind of flared out. You see more with men's slow pitch and stuff like that. And so I always wonder, is there something behind that? Is there?
Oh, there will be something behind that.
And I want to know what it is. So it's interesting, and we can look at that a little bit throughout the game.
I love the fact that you brought that up. That's great analysis. Well, if she makes that play, I'm probably leaving for the night. Not even she, meaning we, Nakamizo, could retire the speedster Mackenzie Wilson, who has the first hit of the game off Miyugato.
Well, good job for Minori coming off the bag, knowing that that's going to be a bad throw. They're not going to get an out, and she comes off it, keeps it in front of her. Again, that's what you have to do. You're sacrificing your body. That's not going to be an out, keeping the ball in front of you.
Well, Danica Coffey, who's had a fabulous Canada Cup, was named an All-Star earlier tonight for her terrific performance, has 12 hits. Did not have a hit against Canada today. First time in the tournament she has gone hitless. She batted .392 this year at LSU. And the game across the way is finally over. Israel has advanced, beating Greece 10-9 in 10 innings. It was 7-7 after 7. So Team Greece will leave here without a win, but boy, between their effort yesterday against Triple Crown Colorado and their effort in their playoff game tonight, Tony Foti, Shan McDonald, and that young group, who I think will be led moving forward by young star Julia Postolakos. They sure made it interesting before they left. And Israel will have to double check this. I believe they will take on Team Italy in their next game, leaving Canada to face Mexico in a couple of elimination games, both slated for 8:30. And Triple Crown Colorado for the first time in business. There's a walk. And Wilson into scoring position. with the dangerous Aaron Koffel at the plate.
It kind of looked to me like they were pitching around Coffee, anticipating a steal and focusing on that. We saw the shortstop breaking a little early and the catcher jumping up quick. And I think one or two pitches that you're throwing a little more out, hoping she'll chase and doesn't steal, then now you have a walk. And let's see if they can capitalize on this.
Well, Koffel has gone deep on a couple of occasions. And how that would change the face of the game. But in this tournament, Miyu Gato has been able to do what others have failed to do, and that's not have their way, but that's the second straight strikeout of Koffel by Miyu Gato tonight. And now there are two down with two on in the top of the third for Triple Crown Colorado. And Sarah Gordon, who's the designated player, I think she has a chance to be a star. Won't turn 20 until October 2nd. She's from Lexington, South Carolina, and had an amazing first year at the University of Louisville. And she can swing it. She catches, batted .379 with 49 runs batted in. She was on the first All-American team for first-year players in Division I. That's not chump change, as I like to refer to. That's the high rent district. When you're named onto those first team, whether it's straight out All-American lists or, as they call them in the United States, All-American freshman team. And Sarah Gordon has gone deep a couple of times and having a quality at bat against Miyu Gato. She doesn't quite look into a real rhythm yet. Off the fist. Tough play. Kawabata in time. A threat, as David King felt like that might have gone off of Gordon's foot, but I'm sure Sarah would have tried to sell it a little bit more if it did. Japan, again. First time under a little duress and get a good defensive play. It's 3-0 going to the bottom of the third. $3-0 Japan in a game, their second of the tournament against Triple Crown Colorado. A winner's bracket final, if you will, to make it a little simpler for you. Smiles aplenty, little hug, never hurt anyone. And the winner of this game will play for the Canada Cup title tomorrow at 6. We are now down to 6 teams left. Greece and Australia, who finished 8th and 7th, respectively, after the 7-game round robin for the 8 teams here, have been eliminated, and Israel needed 10 innings to beat Greece 10-9. They'll take on Italy on the other diamond, while Canada set to square off, I'm guessing, against Lindsay Lopez and Mexico. Kanakudo and Hannah Gamel. A routine play to start the bottom of the third as Japan scored all 3 of their runs in the second inning. And Kanakudo has had very few at-bats that look like that one. Good pitch by Carlin Pickens, and wouldn't be surprised if this is her last inning of work. David King, the head of the Triple Crown Colorado softball program and this team of collegiate all-stars, seen a lot of 3 innings. The drive, fair down the left field line. Off the bat of Hitomi Kawabata. Where's that? Tsukamoto. That is Tsukamoto. And she has her first hit of the night. And she has really caught fire here in the last 2 or 3 games. Haturo Tsukamoto. That's her 7th hit. Another double for Japan in the game. And this is Kawabata, who doubled and scored the first of 3 Japanese runs. And a critical inning in the game, I would suggest, Amanda, for Triple Crown Colorado. This advantage cannot grow anymore for Japan.
Right, and we've seen it, Peter, plenty of times when Japan gets going, they get going pretty much until you're run ruled. And so if they can keep them to 3 in this inning, it's going to be huge.
Kawabata had a big cut at that, and she's disappointed at herself as she goes down swinging in a important strikeout for University of Tennessee pitcher Carlin Pickens, who calls Waverly, North Carolina home. And misses inside to first base player Minori Naito, who grounded back to Pickens in the second. 5 Japanese hits, including 3 doubles. Wild pitch. Atwood tried her best to get it over in a hurry, and Japan takes every base you generally give them an opportunity to take. And that will be scored a wild pitch on Pickens. Oh, and Reese Atwood held that forever, and there's only one reason why catchers hold it for a little longer. They thought it was a strike. See if Naito gets the green light at 3-0. Well, you can't green light that. That's an ouch. As Pickens hits Minori Naito on the left leg.
Just above that leg guard, too, and that's frustrating, especially when you have 3 balls and no strikes, and your leg guard just can't do the trick. And it looks like she'll be coming out.
And Naito will be pinch run for. by Risa Kawamura, number 18, who's participated in 5 of the 8 Japan games. So Tsukamoto, after the double, at third. Ayane Nakagawa drove in a Japanese run with a single in the 3-run second. And this is a crucial at-bat and moment in this game if Triple Crown Colorado is going to stay in it. And so important that head coach Dave King wants to come in and chat. And one of the reasons is he wants to deal with this first and third situation. What do you think he's talking about right now?
I think he's talking about the first and third and also locking in. We keep talking about how important this inning is and this out with 2 outs. If they can get out of this, it'll give them momentum if they're going to switch pitchers or not. But with the first and third, 2 outs, do you go all the way down and try and get her? Do you get her in a rundown, and if that run crosses the plate, potentially scores before the out is completed? Do you let her get all the way to second? And what is scary or nerve-wracking about that is this is Japan, because then the next pitch potentially could be in a gap scoring 2 instead of 1. So I think he's going to, I think this is tough. I think he just wanted to kind of settle them down. That's 5 or 6 balls in a row for the pitcher, and just get out there and talk to his team.
A ball to Ayane Nakagawa, and she drives it to left. Her second hit and her second run batted in. Hit it where it's pitched. Here's something you could put on video for all hitters.
And it's great because, again, she's thrown 5 or 6 balls in a row. Your coach comes and talks to you. What do you think is going to happen? She's probably going to really focus on throwing a strike, and so I'm going to be ready. And so she does a great job, exactly that, Peter, hitting it where it's pitched.
And the great tournament for Ayane Nakagawa, up to 12 hits. She's 12 for 23 and has 5 runs batted in after cashing in 2 more. They just wear you down and wear you down.
In so many different ways. Home runs, home runs, home runs. Base hit, base hit, base hit. Patience, discipline.
Pickens just missing outside. Weaverville, North Carolina, is her home, where she was the SEC Freshman of the Year in a great softball conference. As Haruka, I don't mean to laugh. I'm just laughing at her reaction after fouling that away. A very respectful team, it would appear, over the years, how they've gone about their business. Talking about Japan, their culture has a lot to do with that. Agutsuma has been to Surrey before, twice. She was much younger then, played in the 2017 Canada Cup, and prior to that, the 2016 Women's World Championship, where they lost in the gold medal final here on this diamond to Team USA. They look next to impossible to beat this week. They're up 4 after 3 in a game that will propel them into tomorrow's championship final. You're watching the 2023 Canada Cup live from Softball City in South Surrey, British Columbia. Triple Crown, Colorado, only lost this week. Came in a 7-0 setback at the hands of Japan in a game of teams at that point who were perfect. 5-0 in the round robin on Thursday. Japan won that game 7-0. They've now outscored their opponents here 72-4. Change up from Miyugatu, who's given up just the one base hit. Mackenzie Wilson has that lone Triple Crown Colorado base hit. So their bats have cooled off. Did end up, I think, with a total of 5 in that 2-1 win in 8 innings. And with a shorter turnaround than Team Canada, now Canada would obviously be preferring to play in this game. I don't think that would have been the easiest game to come back off of either. Now you won it, but it required a lot. It was a marvelous game if you missed it earlier. Gamble wanted time. The home plate umpire wouldn't give it to her. She asked for it. I saw the hand go up. Too late. 3 balls and a strike from Miyugatu. And the count runs full. I want you to watch her for a couple of seconds. There are times where I almost think it's like a double hesitation. It could almost be an illegal pitch. Kind of rocks and gets going, then you have to come to a pause. Not on that pitch. It doesn't happen every time. And the other thing that doesn't happen every time is her giving up a hit. As Hannah Gamble, her fine Canada Cup continues, and good news for Triple Crown Colorado. They have the leadoff batter, just their second hit of the game, and Reese Atwood is more than capable of getting them back in this game with one swing. Just completed her first year at the University of Texas for the Longhorns. She's from Sandia, Texas, and at a healthy cut at the Miyugatu offering. Got to pitch for Japan at the 2019 Under-19 World Championships. That was won by the United States. And her numbers there were not what they've been ever since. And gives up back-to-back hits. Gamble makes the wide turn, but elects to stay. And that, especially down 4, I was always taught in this sport and in baseball, you do not want to make outs at third base.
And she was almost halfway, a little less than halfway there. The coach, Dave, and her kind of exchanged a laugh or a giggle in between, seeing probably if she could have made it or not. But right, with no outs, you don't want to make an out at third during a play.
Back-to-back hits off Miu Gato. And we're one big swing away from this becoming awfully interesting.
And I saw Gato kind of a few times looking at her finger. The first pitch she threw at the game, she kind of looked like she was in pain. Wasn't sure what it was. Not to say that that's hindering her at all. I'm sure they're tough athletes, but those pitchers get blisters and cuts kind of from spinning the ball in the seams. So I wonder if that might be affecting her a little bit here. She's getting a little wild for her traditional, typical Gato.
I have to tell you, many years ago when I was around this sport on an everyday basis with a Canadian senior women's team, I saw some nasty blisters on pitchers' hands, cuts.
They super glue them back together, and they do what it takes.
The new first base player is Haruka Sumatani. Came in. Minori Naito, who started there, did not return after she was hit with a Carla Pickens pitch. And Gato gets the first out off the bat of Jackie Lease, bringing Haley Wickoff to the plate. The 19-year-old from Katy, Texas, and had a fine first year where she batted .393 at Texas Tech. Another first-team freshman All-American. Also apparently a pretty good volleyball player in high school. Wickoff trying to get Triple Crown Colorado on the board against Gato, who's as active in the circle as anyone in the sport. She jumps even between innings. She's infectious, which wouldn't you say is quite rare for a Japanese player?
Right, they're pretty
stoic.
Yeah, most of the time, and she's just kind of all over the place, I guess you could say, but I like that she has a routine, but no real routine. Sometimes she walks to the back of the pitching circle. Sometimes she receives the ball and gets right back on the mound. She interacts with her infield, which is good as a pitcher, and she also encourages her teammates as well, and that's great to come from a pitcher instead of someone so focused.
She looks like she's having the time of her life out there. This will drive the left fielder deep. Throw to second, and both runners able to move up 50 feet, or 60 in fact, on the fly out by Kaylee Wickoff. The catch made by...
Well, they do a great job reading that ball and see that the Japanese left fielder is going back still. And so her momentum's taking her back, making it a bit of a less, not as hard of a throw, and taking that chance and putting themselves in scoring position.
Tsukamoto made that catch. She's had an excellent night in the game. And that was pretty well hit. So Triple Crown Colorado starting to get a little bit to Miu Gato. 2 down after giving up back-to-back base hits to Gamble and Atwood to open the inning. And a good swing by Talon Edwards. Right off the top of our broadcast tonight, we mentioned, what do you do against this team when you get some opportunities? Here's their best of the night for Triple Crown Colorado. And good defensive swing by Edwards to stay alive.
A great job. Like we've said, is it doesn't have to be your pitch. If you don't like it, you just have to get it out of there. So fouling it off is the way to do that. Getting into the box, getting ready to square up your pitch, the one that you're ready for. Otherwise, if it's a strike, you don't like it, foul it off.
From Moore, Oklahoma. And that is definitely outside, even though the reaction tells you. I'm sorry. I find her fascinating and fun to watch out there and not used to it. The 2-2 on its way to Talon Edwards. And she has driven in one run. Atwood gets the stop sign. And Talon Edwards has done something against Mio Gatu that hasn't been done for a while. That's an earned run against.
She takes that pitch and pokes it where it needs to be. Again, we talked about, like you said, Peter, if you want to compete with Japan, you have to be perfect. And Edwards does a great job. She fouls off a pitch she doesn't like. She doesn't chase that ball that's 2 or 3 balls outside. She finds a pitch that she can hit and score runs, and she did just that.
So this game just got a little more interesting when it was starting to feel like, here we go again, another 6-inning, beat you by 7 or 8. Japan win, the changeup. Mackenzie Wilson delivered a hit, her first time up. She's from Long Beach, California, all Big 12 in 2022 at the University of Baylor, or Baylor University, where she is a star player with the Bears. Just completed her junior year. They lost the Baylor Bears in a regional tournament. 64 teams originally make the NCAA Division I tournament. And 16 come out of those 16 tournaments of 4, 8 best of 3 super regionals in the 8-team College World Series.
And some of them you can see, I think Edwards, her Evo Shield, her protective guard on her elbow still has the OKC letters written on it that most girls customize when they get to go to the Women's College World Series. And that's cool to be able to have that still and use it here while you're playing Japan.
2-2. And the at-bats are getting better and better. I did see some activity through the umbrellas. I couldn't quite make out from our vantage point. I think it was Sakura Miwa. It's been a lot of Miwa and Misaki Katsumata. The all-time great, Yukiko Ueno, has only pitched a couple of innings here, and it wasn't on this diamond. And Gato wanted that desperately. Miyu Gato. 22 years of age. And she's going to be around for a long time. Another quality at-bat. And this is at the bottom of the lineup. She's had more trouble with 7, 8, 9 tonight than 1, 2, 3. And maybe that's just easing up a little bit. As she tries to get a better grip.
Again, the bottom of the lineup is doing well. They're having longer at-bats and forcing Gato to pitch. When we talk about pitch count, maybe there is something going on with her finger. And high number at bats, high number pitch counts are really good at bats, and this one leading to a walk with bases loaded now.
And we're going to get a visit. And we're going to get a visit from the boss. We haven't always seen this week, and I want to once again thank some viewers from Japan. But that is the boss, and I mean head coach Reika Utsugi. She spent a lot of time instructing from the dugout area. In past events, when I've watched Japan, she's always coached at third. Eri Yamada, a Japanese great, has done that. There's some of the Canadian players. Janet Leung on the right of your screen. Hi, Janet. Good luck tonight against Mexico. Canada and Mexico coming up next. There's a little R&R and a few laughs. And the boss has spoken.
And that, to have your coach come out and just reassure you, again, you're Japan, but now you have bases loaded from this TC Colorado team that was strong out of the gate. Just some reassurance from your coach. Everyone needs. It doesn't matter who you are or how good you are.
This might be the game here. This is a glorious chance. Canada had a few of these last night. They left 8 runners stranded in the first 4 innings of their 8-1 loss to Japan. And let's see how Miyogato, who doesn't find herself in these kind of scenarios all that often, does in this situation.
If Coffee can put the ball in play here, again, it's a better chance than swinging for the fence. We all love home runs, but she's been hitting well, poking the ball when she needs, getting the ball in the outfield. And this is her prime opportunity to do some damage.
And she has 12 hits already this week. That was very close to being strike 3. So Gato not getting a lot of pitches behind home plate. She's had a few of those kind of reactions to Coffee. And she comes up with her most important strikeout of the night. Triple Crown Colorado had Japan in trouble. They had 3 hits. They scored a run. And it's game on again in this contest to determine our first finalist at the Canada Cup. Triple Crown Colorado on the board. By the way, when we saw the Canadians, it was Janet Leung and the professional hitter, Kelsey Harshman. can't leave her out. There they are, right behind home plate. No more Janet. She's moved out of that spot. Probably understands she's been on camera. And there goes Kelsey down in front of us. There's Canada in a must-win game to keep their Canada Cup hopes alive. They did not make it to Sunday in this event last year. Lost to Chinese Taipei on Saturday to end their tournament. Japan, we'll see how they respond to giving up a run with veteran Nodoka Harada. She's played all 3 outfield positions this week. She's in right this evening. Is the sun going down behind the trees on a stunning night in Surrey. And we hope the people continue to file in. Can be a little tougher at times, believe it or not, to draw in this day and age in the playoffs because your schedule isn't set and people don't know exactly when you're going to play. So at this tournament, Canada has had amazing crowds because you know exactly when they're going to play, and every night they've been in the same 6 o'clock time spot. Well, tonight they played at 1, and they're going to play at 8:30. And it's the weekend. And it's beautiful.
It is a very picturesque, as my mom would say, setting that not being on the field I can really appreciate now. Just this place, this park, Softball City, it's really beautiful and amazing, and the effort that they put into it to make it what it is incredible, and I'm able to appreciate that even more working on the outside instead of playing for Team Italy this year. And all the flags out there, it's a great atmosphere. And like you said, the crowds, especially when Canada plays, the energy just goes up.
Well, it's been a very good week here. Tournament returned to its regular dates. It was moved up last year to accommodate the World Games, which found itself in exactly the same time slot, and they're going to be in a similar position next year with the Women's World Cup, which is in this same time area next year in Italy. That tournament will end literally 5 days before the Summer Olympics open in Paris, where the best women in the world should be playing, but I'll try to stay off that topic as much as I can, although I don't really want to and really won't. New pitcher is University of Oklahoma, Kirsten Deal. She was the #1 rated recruit in the high school class in the United States in the year 2022. #1.
And it's no surprising to hear that, Peter, throughout the weekend. You're giving great stats on these girls of TC Colorado, and they all are top-notch athletes wherever they're performing. We have freshmen, fresh women of the year, and so it's no surprise to hear that she was #1.
#1. Kirsten Deal. Basically #3, maybe even #4 on the Oklahoma Sooner sensational staff that was led by Jordy Ball. And Ball is going home next year. She's from Nebraska. What a bonus for the Cornhuskers. I think it's great. The transfer portal has taken many a player from even really good schools to transfer to places like Oklahoma. I'd be fascinated to kind of watch what Jordy is able to do for Nebraska. Talk about winning the lottery. As a Nebraskan will go home and play collegiately. As Kirsten Deal comes on. She's pitched 6 innings so far. The bunt dropped down, and it's a good one from Ishikawa's Gamel, who being right-handed has that tough pivot.
It is a tough play for a first baseman. She fields it well, just throws it away with the pressure of the Japan runner. But I'm not sure if you could place a bunt much better.
Well, the second error of the game for Triple Crown Colorado. On the ground, Danica Coffey looks the runner back, Harada, and fires over to get shortstop Wee Nakamizo. And there is one away. And you desperately want to put up a 0 if you can here after finally scoring a run in your last at-bat in regards to Triple Crown Colorado. Kirsten Deal is from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Just 3-0 this year. Pitched 27 1/3. She did enter and pitched 1 inning at the College Women's World Series. Her mom, Michelle, played both college softball and basketball. And I'm guessing those innings are going way up this upcoming season. And the departure of Jordy Ball will add to that, although I try my best to stay on top of all those moves. Not always easy. I do belong to a lot of different sites and Twitter situations trying to keep up to it. That's not easy, that transfer portal. So I do know this. It's not hard to recruit at the University of Oklahoma's. Kanakudo pounds this. But foul. The second base player, 0 for 2 tonight. She struck out and grounded out to Hannah Gamel earlier in the game at first. There's Kirsten Deal. Change up, down, and the count runs full to Kanakudo.
We see TC's infield not too far in, and I think Japan was reading that pretty well, trying to go for a hit and run.
This is a quality piece of hitting by Kanakudo. Look at her give herself up to pull it.
And her bat just drags out on the ground afterwards, too. And exactly like you said, if that's a hit and run, you have to put this ball in play because that runner is coming home. She sacrifices herself up, accomplishes the goal, and gets Japan another run on the board.
So they answer right back. And that ball is almost one-hopped that she wanted to send it to that side of the diamond. The execution at times, and it hasn't been perfect, but if you love this game and appreciate, I would say, all the little things, that was impressive. And it's not a blast over, the tent, as we've seen a couple of times. And give Kirsten Deal credit. She did a nice job. Strikes out Tsukamoto. Gets a good ground ball, but Kanakudo. Kudo to her. 5-1 Japan after 4.
That was a good one.
Sakura Miwa is the new Japanese pitcher as the evening is over for 22-year-old sensation Miyugato, who did not have her best stuff tonight. Gave up a run, 4 hits in her 4 innings of work. And 3 of those hits came in the 4th inning. Is Sakura Miwa. Thank you. A little water never hurt anyone. In game number 4 of 5 of the day. Sakura Miwa has pitched more than anyone on this 4-member Japanese national team staff. 18 2/3, has given up 2 runs, 17 hits, struck out 18, walked only 1 for Sakura Miwa. Plays for Toyota in the Japanese Diamond League. Was 1-0, pitched 10 innings last year at the World Games in Birmingham. Pitched for Japan at the 2017 World Junior Championship in Clearwater, Florida. And had a tough time in that final. Hard to imagine at any level in the sport. Even the United States beating Japan 13-4 in a gold medal game, but that happened in Clearwater, Florida in 2017. Is Miwa, born in the year 1998. So just 24. Popped in the air by Aaron Koffel, who struck out twice, which is rare for the terrific shortstop out of the University of Kentucky. Canada-Mexico in an elimination game next. Canada coming off a heartbreaking 2-1 8-inning loss to Aaron Koffel, and Triple Crown Colorado has knocked off Canada twice in one of the great games of this tournament earlier today. And looks like Canada might be going with their ace tonight in Sarah Groenwagen. And as expected, Lindsay Lopez likely to get the ball for Mexico, the standout at the University of Washington. And it's hard to keep Aaron Koffel down for too long as she comes in to face Sakura Miwa and delivers a base hit up the middle. Five hits now for Triple Crown Colorado, 4 of them in the last couple of innings. As Koffel greets Sakura Miwa with a base hit up the middle. Setting the table for Sarah Gordon. Sarah is 0 for 2 in the game. The University of Louisville, she's not 0 for anymore. Second inning in a row, Amanda. Triple Crown Colorado has back-to-back hits to start an inning.
And that's exactly what they need to do. We talked about that at the beginning of the game. They need to create these opportunities for themselves and then capitalize on them. And they're doing a great job in this 5th inning.
Well, they were able to really threaten, but only scored 1 to get on the board. Hannah Gamble is 1 for 1. She was hit by a pitch, singled, and scored their only run in the last inning. And Sakura Miwa No shortage of movement on that pitch. Looked like it moved about a foot. And here comes the 2-strike to Gamble in the same neighborhood, but this time it's a ball. Gamble (10 for 19) in this Canada Cup, and way out in front. Almost pulled that into the diamond to our left, the 4 diamond. Fantastic softball city facility. As you mentioned, I love your mom's word. It is picturesque. It's a good one. Thanks, Mom.
They really keep jamming Gamble here. And that's exactly what happens when you face Japan pitching staff. They kind of handcuff you, keep throwing you inside, hit the ball right off the handle and resulting in an out. That's exactly what Japan wants, either that or a ground ball where they can turn a fascinating double play. But
Reese Atwood, she singled in her last at-bat. And Miwa delivers a first pitch strike. Japan out-hitting Triple Crown Colorado now 7-6. But lead 5-1. A high rise that the young Atwood couldn't lay off of. Got a piece of it. But Miwa and catcher Haruka Agutsama well ahead in the count.
And we've mentioned games prior to this one. The score's not reflecting how the teams actually are doing in the game with their hits. Like you said, TC Colorado has 6 hits, Japan has 7. So they're holding their own to this team. It's just about executing it when they have that opportunity and not leaving runners stranded when they're in scoring positions. And that's how a team wins and succeeds over, Olympic gold medalists. And so they have that opportunity here, and it would be great if they can get one to the green.
Hard hit. Kawabata for 1. Japan in a nutshell. That was a defensive play.
With that bag there, that is a scary thing, and that's what's tough about playing behind the bag at third or first. And she's able to snag that right as it's near the bag and make an incredible play.
They slip out of danger again. 5-1 it remains in a game that will decide the first finalist at the 2023 Canada Cup. I've been meaning to look this up. And at least coming into this game, Japan is batting .479 with runners in scoring position. They seem to cash in every opportunity they get. And that almost absolutely confirms that point. .479 coming in with runners in scoring position, and they have 5 more runs tonight. They're not all earned on 7 hits. There's been 2 Triple Crown Colorado errors. That number is bonkers.
And a lot of that is discipline. Of course, at this level, everyone can hit, everyone can see these pitches, but the discipline to lay off those pitches and really know the strike zone or not over swinging. If you have a runner at second, you want to get that ball in the outfield, but to be able to just poke it in there like we see them doing right now, it's discipline at its finest, and that's a crucial part in this game.
Another hit for Hitomi Kawabata, who made that pretty incredible inning-ending play over at third. By the way, they have also scored 19 runs in the tournament with 2 out prior to tonight.
That is an impressive stat.
I just found a new little friend here in front of me. Checking out some of the advanced numbers.
I'd like to see a spray chart since we've been talking about all the technology that costs
I
so
could maybe
much,
find you one of those here. Haven't had a lot of extra time this week to dig in quite as deeply. But that runners in scoring position for me was a must, and was able to track it down before the start of this bottom of the 5th. Although it doesn't include this game. And I'm not so sure that number hasn't gone up again from .489 with runners in scoring position. Kirsten Deal has come on in a 5-1 Japanese lead. And are we going to make a change? The music would suggest that that might be the case.
It looked like Wickoff in right field came off.
So I see Haley Morrow in the game at second. No Jackie Lease. Pretty certain that is Lassiter now over in right field. By the way, to just share a little bit more, Triple Crown Colorado's batting .355 with runners in scoring position coming into the game. Fly ball from Haruka Sumatani and right at Jalia Lassiter. And 1 out now as Kirsten Deal came on in relief of Carlin Pickens, the starter out of the University of Tennessee. Deal, a pitcher for the 3-time reigning NCAA champion Oklahoma Sooners. And boy, do they love their softball Sooners in that part of the world. I got quite an introduction to that for 4 days in Oklahoma City. Which, by the way, if you like this sport and you've never been and you don't mind a sports trip, take a peek. If you ever get a chance. I've now been to 2. Hadn't been since 1987, when the tournament at that point in time was held in front of about 400 people in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm being sarcastic, but certainly weren't drawing 12,000 every day like they do now at Hall of Fame Stadium in Oklahoma City, which is the home of USA softball. Fantastic facility. Ayani Nakagawa, 2 for 2 tonight with a couple of singles and a run batted in. And Atwood does well to keep that ball in front of her and not allow Kawabata from moving up to second. 8-6 of the hits in favor of Japan, but where it really matters, they lead 5-1. And a walk or a strikeout. Must be a walk. She just goes straight back. And a little change. They switch the running helmet. One does not have face protection when they bat. There is, and that makes a great deal of sense. So the walk to Nakagawa. 2 on for the veteran catcher, Haruka Agutsama. A gold medalist. Just 0 for 5 at last year's World Games when Japan lost to the United States in the title game. She was 0 for 4 in the Japan-USA series. It's not her first. She's been in this tournament back in 2017. Was 9 for 19. Also played sparingly in the 2016 World Championship here, when the United States beat Japan in the championship final. Canada, it's a great moment. They won the bronze medal. Lauren Bay, Regula, made a return to the national team. There's a tricky hop and a double play. Nice turn by Haley Morrow came in. An excellent concentration by Erin Koffel. To the top of the 6th, Japan 6 outs away for playing for the title tomorrow evening here in South Surrey. What a treat. What a treat. First time on this diamond, one of the all-time great pitchers, a legend, 40-year-old Yukiko Ueno, in just her second appearance of the Canada Cup. The resume is ridiculous. 2 Olympic gold medals. pitched in 5 World Championships. Pitched 2 innings here in 2017 at the Canada Cup. In the final in 2008 to beat the United States in the gold medal game in China, she gave up just 5 hits in that 3-1 win over the United States. It was a home run to one of the most powerful hitters I've ever watched in the sport, a woman by the name of Crystal Bustos.
I mean, if anyone's going to hit a home run off Waino, Crystal Bustos is the one to do it.
So she comes in relief, induces a ground ball, and Haley Morrow is out.
And doesn't even have to watch the play. The trust that she has in her teammates, she got a ground ball, she knows they can do it, doesn't even have to watch. And you watch her wind up, the speed of the actual wind up isn't as fast as we would think it should be with how fast the ball comes out of her hand. And that's part of being a hitter. What throws you off is you have your timing off her wind up, which is slow, and then the ball seems to explode out of her hand.
Now remember, she's 40. And it's fouled away by Rylan Hedgecock, who enters the game to pinch hit. Is Yukiko Ueno. Youngsters in Japan, she is royalty. I don't think that's unfair when you grow up liking this sport. She is, in this game, Japanese royalty. And just pitched her country again with help from Gatto in relief 2 summers ago to win the gold medal in 2021.
And you mentioned her, how well known she is, and she should be. She's even in Italy, the United States, Australia. We saw some of Team Australia, the young athletes here, idolizing her because she is an idol. She's someone that has grown this sport, has dominated this sport, and we see why here.
Popped in the air. 2 up, 2 down as Kanakuto goes back defensively. So here's the question. Now, you faced her later in her career. Can you share with the viewers what makes her so special?
When I faced her several times at the World Games, at the Olympics, and you get in there and you know who she is and you get over that because you have to. And she comes at you again with the ball coming at you faster than her windup throws you off if you've never faced her before. So you take a pitch or two to understand that, to time that. And then the way the ball moves is really like no other. There's no sequence. It doesn't take the same path every time, which we see in a lot of pitchers, is they're so good at throwing maybe that drop ball, and they do it all the time, that it has that same path each time. Hers doesn't. And so I've had one really good kind of long at bat off her and knew what pitch was coming, and it was just the same pitch in a different spot, and that's what makes her so effective. And one of the best is she can throw you the same pitch over and over, but it's going to be different each time.
That was marvelous. Thank you for sharing. 3 up, 3 down in just her 3rd inning of work. The great Ueno. Japan coming to bat in the bottom of the 6th.
Nice, nice, nice. Thanks, Wayno, so being so great that makes all the rest of us quite
marginal.
What do you think? She's
Well,
she's not throwing 100%.
I know, I can tell. But here's what I will say. The point that you made right off the top, here's the first thing I noticed. And why it's maybe even confused me going all the way back to the first time I saw her. The windup doesn't indicate it. It explodes off her hand. It does not look like it's coming that quickly.
It's... Oh, yes. Much needed. Okay, so her wind up. Yeah, it's...
What a treat. Japan, and for the first time on this diamond, she did pitch earlier. And this is not 28-year-old Yukiko Ueno. This might not even be 20-year-old breakout star in Saskatoon at the 2002 Worlds, her first of 5. But as an absolute lover of this game and the women's game, it just changed my whole energy to see her come in the game. It is the one person here that I really wanted to make sure that I saw one more time. And I know it's not the same. I know it's not her in 2008, but she was the ace 2 summers ago at 38. She's going to turn 41 later this month.
She's a special athlete, and I think your excitement and your respect nails it because everyone respects her for a reason.
Smart play by Hannah Gamble. Waited for the Nodoka Harada bunt attempt, and for the longest time, it looked like it was going to stay fair.
That's a very smart play. By the time the first baseman gets to the ball, the runner's already passed. So even if she picks that ball up right away, she's not going to get that runner at first. So might as well chance it. If it doesn't go foul, no harm done. If it goes foul, great. Another opportunity here for the pitcher.
5-1. Kirsten Deal, the #1 United States high school recruit. She's from Winston-Salem and chose Oklahoma University, where she will become even a bigger factor. Harada, the high pop-up. Haley Morrow in the game for the starter, Jackie Lease. She helped turn to double play in the last inning. And you can see Kirsten Deal, even as she's had a few outings here, there is a lot of talent to work with for this 19-year-old.
And when you get opportunities like this, how can you not get better?
Kyoko Ishikawa, the top of the Japanese order. She's reached twice on an error tonight. Grounded out. Officially 1 for 2 because, yes, she did reach on an error. She was trying to lay down a sacrifice bunt, but the ball was spilled. I think she went around. And I'm not alone. The most important person in the park down at third, who was appealed to, said yes. Canada, Mexico, their rivalry continues. The winner moves on to tomorrow. The loser is eliminated. And Kirsten Deal upstairs with a quality high rise to strike out Ishikawa, and there are 2 away in the bottom of the 6th. Japan has used 3 pitchers. Triple Crown Colorado, just 2. Carlin Pickens, out of the University of Tennessee, started and threw pretty well. You hold this group, that's a mile in the air off the bat of Wee Nakamizu, and Mackenzie Wilson takes care of business. Japan 3 outs away from playing in tomorrow evening's title game here with the birds flying over the trees and a huddle down the first base line at Softball City. The other day, you were beaming when you came back upstairs.
Yeah, huge respect for her, and I faced her, and she's a great athlete. But, I mean, it's Japan. You don't just walk up to a bullpen. But the way this field is set up, I was within 3 feet of her, and so I was going to take that opportunity. And just to see little things, to see the grip of the ball, and to see what her legs do was something special. And I'm able to appreciate it now. And I kind of want another go at her, watching her a little more. I'm antsy up here.
You're taking me with you the next time, by the way.
But it's, again, to be able to watch Japan in one of the best throw and to be a couple feet from her is...
Well, she's behind in the count right now and comes back. Thank you, Brian. Some stats for Canada and Mexico. An elimination game coming up next on this diamond. Koffel. And she slaps her hand. She knows she was really close to driving that Waino pitch. Triple Crown, Colorado, down to their last out. They will play in the 3:30 game here tomorrow for another berth in the final. So this opportunity, and they've given it a good run for sure, but they'll get another chance to earn a berth, to face Japan potentially for the third time. Canada and others have other ideas. We'll be down to 4 remaining in this 8-team tournament, which began here on Monday morning. And Canada will face a stiff test in Mexico. 13-2 did not do the round-robin meeting justice. It was 2-1 Mexico going to the top of the 6th. And then they exploded for 7 and added 5 more off Alexandra Aguiar. Yukiko Ueno with an elite-level, world-class, all-world changeup to end the game. Japan 5. Triple Crown, Colorado 1. Japan will play for the Canada Cup crown tomorrow night at 6. Is a chance to watch one of the all-time greats in person for the first time since 2002. It was a treat. Good game, Amanda. I give Triple Crown Colorado a lot of credit. It just, you're always playing from behind against them.
You are, and no matter how many times you see them, it's going to be a tough game. Like we said, you have to be almost perfect, but tons of props to them. They're a team that comes together, 15, 17, 20 girls, and comes out here and competes against the world's best, and they're doing a great job at it.
They bow to the crowd, and the crowd probably should return the favor. They're 9-0 and finals bound as they wave to some of their supporters here. And I think everybody in some way is a fan of Team Japan. 5-1 over Triple Crown Colorado. Canada, Mexico. For the right to play on the final day. That's what's coming your way in about a half an hour. So long for now from Softball City.
for the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com.